I still remember the day when one of the team managers that I was working 2 years ago, he came to me and he said, "What can I do so that I can help the members of my team that are struggling with burnout? Or actually, how can I even help them not even get a burnout?" So I remember his very kind heart coming to me and speaking with a lot of compassion on how he can help with that situation and how he can detect it very early on and support their team members. Hi, I'm Vassia. I'm a psychologist expert in perfectionism and burnout, and both because perfectionism leads to burnout. It doesn't lead to perfection. That's something that I've said many times. So today I would like to have a discussion with you about what are the signs that a leader, a team manager can detect in a team member that can be actually an indication that they're struggling with burnout, hopefully at least in the beginning, the early stage of burnout. So we talked about burnout before. Have a look at the previous videos, have a look at my YouTube channel so that you can see all the other videos about burnout that I've created and about stress. We're talking about burnout, and the first thing that I would like to say is that burnout is not just about feeling tired. It's not going through a week of a lot of excessive workload. We're talking about an intricate web of physical, emotional, mental exhaustion that is, of course, stemming from prolonged exposure to demanding work situation. Not only work situations, as I said before, the people that I treat for burnout, they have indeed excessive workload for a long period, but at the same time, there's also something else happening in their personal lives that adds with extra decisions, with extra pressure, with extra responsibilities happening in a very holistic level, happening in all areas of their lives. And that is the overwhelm. That is the overwhelm that they experience. And that's why they are feeling depleted of energy. There's no source in their life that they can empty, that they can actually fill in the empty tank of energy. All areas are demanding, all areas are sucking their energy. So, what we want to do is that, of course, we're talking about that because the impact is tremendous, both on individual but also on the professional lives. On individual level, because of course they feel depleted of their energy because they're tired, because their sleep gets really worse, but also because on a professional level they're not achieving their goals, they're not as productive as they used to be, they don't even like the job that they're doing, because that's one of the main symptoms of burnout, depersonalization. We detach from our work, and then of course that can lead to communication problems, communication breakdowns, decline in the collaborative efforts. Any team spirit actually cannot survive when somebody is struggling with burnout. What are the signs that we can actually detect if we're having somebody in our team and they're struggling with burnout? What does a leader can do? What do they need to pay attention to? So one thing is changes in behavior. When, for example, you notice that they are more irritable, they get more easily irritable, annoyed, short-tempered, and especially if they weren't like that, if they were people who are calm and nice and polite and patient, and now you see somebody who's easily frustrated or easily disappointed, that's a sign. Or when you notice withdrawal, that's another sign in their behavior. They withdraw, they used to engage with the team, hang out together during lunch break, or liked, a couple of minutes of chit chat before or after the meetings. But now you see that they isolate themselves. They prefer to just go back to their office, just go back to their work. Of course, the obvious decreased productivity, and you see that there are more errors in the results, in their reports, in their emails, or maybe they're missing deadlines because they didn't notice, or because they forgot, or because they didn't make it to the deadline. That's a very strong sign. But also when you see that they're struggling with creativity, you remember that there was a person that was very enthusiastic and they were thinking of all the possible ideas that they can make the project better. But now the only thing that you notice is somebody with stifled creativity and no innovation in their ideas. They don't have anything to contribute to the meetings. Physical signs, of course, you can see the fatigue. You can see somebody, again, used to be fully energetic, but now the only thing you see is somebody who lacks energy, persistent tiredness. And sometimes they even tell you, I didn't rest enough, I didn't sleep enough. That can also be indicative of a burnout, especially when they tell you about the sleep, when they have, maybe they struggle with insomnia. When you see the loss of enthusiasm, the lack of motivation, they don't have passion anymore. This self defeating or this very detached approach to anything in their life, especially work in this case. When you bring an idea, when you bring a project, when you bring something that you would like to share with them, and then they will react with whatever. Yes, sure, let's do it. And there's no life inside them. That can be a really strong sign. No passion. And of course, practical signs such as attendance, punctuality, they're coming late, or maybe they're asking even more days off because they need to rest. You probably, because we said about productivity, you probably think that maybe they're working less or they're less focused. But another sign could be overworking just because they are not going to make it to the deadline, or because their brain, and we have talked about the brain of a burnout person, what happens there. Their brain needs double time now in order to process all information and in order to deliver the work. It makes sense why they're working long hours. They're working during the weekends. They're staying more in order to finish a project. So that's another sign, the excessive overtime. Their communication patterns, for example, how often they reply to the emails, or maybe they're forgetting an email, or maybe they're replying to emails even late, more late than usual. Or when you're discussing with them, you notice some negativity in regards to the fact that they're going to see the worst case scenario than the positive scenario. They're going to bring the possible things that might go wrong instead of bringing the things that might go right. They're going to focus on the negative side of anything rather than the happy side of it. Now that I said happy, it's also difficult for them to share joy. Maybe you share some happy news in the team and you notice that for them, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, sure, congratulations, happy for you. And then they're going to retreat again. So again, the disengagement is a very strong sign that you need to see. And last but not least, my favorite word, perfectionism. If you see perfectionistic tendencies, if you see somebody saying yes, but then with just this sigh of, fatigue, and always energy in order to meet unrealistic expectations and pushing themselves more, that's a very strong sign. What can you do there when you see something like that? First of all, initiate a private conversation. Invite them into a one-on-one meeting to discuss concerns privately, and make it an open conversation. Don't just bring what you noticed and then impose it on them. Express it with a genuine concern. Share your observations without any judgment. Share it with your authenticity, with your honesty, and with your compassion. Use empathetic language and get into their own shoes. What would your team member be afraid if they would be called to share something personal about their mental health? They would be afraid that if I share that, then that would have a negative impact in my future here in this company, in my future in this job position. So they will be afraid that they will be deprived of future opportunities or future promotion. So listen to that fear and respond to it. Preempt their inner critic by saying to them, whatever we say will stay here and it will not affect any future decision. Actually, any future decisions will be based on collaborative discussions. So tell them that this is what you have observed. Ask them for what they have noticed from their own side. Ask them how they're feeling about their workload, how they're feeling about their overall well being, and listen carefully. Listen to their concerns. Listen actively. That's what we mean with listen carefully. Make sure that what they're saying is heard and valued. Acknowledge, validate them. Don't downplay the experience. Oh, you shouldn't have thought that this is so important, or you shouldn't have overestimated this. No should or must. Don't downplay their experience. This is what they're experiencing, and it's valid. And as I said before, collaborate on any solutions. Work together in order to identify potential solutions. Teach them how they can delegate because maybe they don't know. Maybe they think that they are responsible for everything. Maybe they need to clarify some things about their job position. So, whatever you're doing, either it's about redistribution, either it's about time management, or about skill development, whatever it is, work collaboratively together with them. Offer support. And this support needs to be ongoing support. Don't just have this one meeting and then forget about it. Check with them, encourage them, mean it when you are offering this support, and tell them that you can always come back and I will come to you and I will monitor how these things that we discuss here are going, what else you might need from me, because I am here for you. And we're going to set realistic expectations together, and we are going to support you in whatever way you need to be supportive. In case they would like the help of the rest of the team, support them in how they can engage with the rest of the team, how they can communicate their specific situation with the rest of the team without spreading stigma in the rest of the workplace. We actually need to step out of this mentality so that anybody can actually be able to reach out to either the manager or their colleagues and feel relieved and feel heard and valued without keeping that all this burden inside them, all this overwhelm inside them, because that's the only way that this doesn't work. When we keep things inside us, that actually makes the overwhelm even bigger. I hope it was helpful. Remember that, of course, every individual is unique and we need to tailor our approach. We need to listen to their needs first. But that's what we're doing here. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. And feel free to send me an email, send me a message if you have more specific questions, if you would like us to come together and support your team if they're struggling with burnout, or if you already see some perfectionistic tendencies and you want to prevent a burnout from happening. I'm here to support. Thank you very much. Have a good day and take good care of yourself.